Greetings. Thank you for joining me. I have now reached a new level of status on this channel. It's not because I've reached a certain number of views. It's not because people like my videos. It's not because I get lovely comments. It's because I have elevated myself to a new status. And of course, what I am speaking of is my new guitar that I've just procured. So as you ladies and gentlemen surely know, for the past few years, I've been leaning towards playing Gibson guitars. Now there are many reasons for this, one being I like the sound of them, I enjoy the build quality, I appreciate many of their artists, and you see, at one time in my life, playing Gibson guitars was an aspirational goal that I had reached. However, regular old Gibson USA guitars are not high value. I mean, please, any bum off the street can afford a Gibson Les Paul Studio, Standard, or Supreme from the Gibson USA factory. I mean, those instruments, you're talking about chump change. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand this. Those regular old Gibson USA instruments are good, but they are not by any means the best. You could really do a whole lot better than those measly chopsticks. And of course, this is what I'm talking about, the Gibson Custom Shop. Everybody knows one is not a serious guitar player unless they are playing a custom shop instrument. Now, I didn't make that rule. Society tells us that. That's how humans evolved. So now, if you're watching this video and you're becoming upset by this, you might be asking, what's the difference between a Gibson USA and a Gibson Custom Shop? Well, for one thing, one is made at Gibson USA and one is made in the Custom Shop. One is made out of wood, the other is made out of better wood. You see, a custom shop instrument is a whole new caliber. There is a whole additional level of care that goes into building these instruments. Now, with Gibson Custom, you may choose to get yourself something like a custom shop Les Paul Jr., or a custom shop Les Paul Standard, or even a reissue, or even a Murphy's Lab. But for myself, what did I want to get from the custom shop? Simply a Les Paul Custom. And why is that? Because a Les Paul Custom has a lot of binding. And binding tells the world, binding tells society that I'm high value. Again, I didn't make these rules, this is just how God created us. Now, what does a Gibson Custom Les Paul Custom sound like? Well, quite simply, it sounds like a Gibson Les Paul, only better. I will try to give you a brief demonstration, although this suit is really cutting off the circulation to my hands. Anyway, that intro was kind of ridiculous, but I did get my dream guitar, Gibson Les Paul Custom. It's a 2021 model. I stated at the beginning of the year that I was going to try to get one of these, and I did get it. Now, this guitar is several times more expensive than the next most expensive Gibson that I've ever purchased, which would be a Studio. I skipped the Standard because I never really loved a Les Paul Standard. But let me explain why I wanted to get a custom. So, without sounding totally snobby and ridiculous, what it comes down to is that the best sounding instruments I've ever heard in my entire life have been built from the custom shop. Now I know that right now I'm just playing this through my Boss Katana for the sake of this quick demo, but I will definitely do some sound comparisons because I think that'd be interesting. But basically, the reason that I went all the way up to a Les Paul Custom is because I think that they are better made. They do genuinely have some more choice woods. They tend to put more time into the finer details of the instrument, even more so than Gibson USA. They sound immense compared to pretty much everything else. I mean, this is basically a do-everything guitar, and it makes me wonder if I will even keep my other Gibsons, which, you know, all of the ones that I have basically have a story. And they have a reason that I like them, but if this is going to be my main guitar, what do I need the other ones for? Basically, I should have some comfort in knowing that there's nowhere else that I can go from here as far as quality of guitar. And part of what prompted me to actually start setting money aside for this was because basically going through the pandemic last year, there was a couple of times where I thought, you know, things that I'm postponing to where I would assume I would do it later in life, like in my 40s when I'm more financially stable, I was like, you know, if I'm not going to potentially get to my 40s, I might as well do them now, hence this thing. It really, you know, I had to really work my ass off to set aside $5,000 for this guitar. And I take it very seriously, and I'm pretty proud of it. And this guitar really should overshadow everything else that I have. Now, again, you know, again, I do have a handful of other guitars. This plays so well and it sounds so good. And even with the new sort of dry-ish Gibson fretboard that they all have, apparently even in the custom shop, this thing plays great. I mean, it plays like butter. It sounds phenomenal. I mean, this is just through this little Katana right here, but I will do a proper sound demo video for this thing with my real amp, which is over here, my Mesa, and really get a sense of what this thing can do because it's pretty impressive. This guitar is 9.65 pounds, which is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a little lighter than what I would ideally like, which I know sounds crazy, but I like a 10-pound Les Paul. But with that being said, a 10-pound Les Paul is not one that you can pick up after a long break and really easily play. It would kind of kick your ass. That's why, like, my Platinum is like 10 pounds or so, and my White Studio is a lot less than that. And if I haven't been playing for a week or two, I will pick up the White Studio instead of the Platinum because it's way easier to start with. This guitar strikes like a perfect middle ground. I mean, leaning towards the heavier side, but it gives you a little bit of relief rather than being actually 10 pounds. The neck on this thing is a little bit bigger than what I would call a slim taper, but not by much. This particular neck is not the biggest Les Paul neck that I've ever played, but I wouldn't expect it to be. I would probably put it in the 70th percentile. Which is to say that it gives you some girth, that you feel like you actually have something in your hand here, some resonance, and also a good balance of speed. Like I said, I will do a proper playing demo. I kind of wanted to just do a brief overview of this thing. It's 2021 Les Paul Custom. Basic custom specs, mahogany body, really thick body, maple top, mahogany neck, ebony fretboard with legit ebony, not Richlite. It has the fret nibs, although on this thing they are basically perfectly done. I may at some point, either in this video or another one, throw in some pictures, like close-up pictures of them, because the fret nibs are so perfect. I mean, it's beyond like the quality you'd expect on a Les Paul Standard or anything from Gibson USA. So there is definitely that advantage to the custom shop. But to summarize it, the whole point of why I bought this guitar is because in my experience as a listener, Gibson custom shop instruments are the best singing instruments of any guitars that I've ever heard. This guitar definitely has that potential. Hopefully it will give me a little kick in the ass to try to get my skills up to that level, but this guitar really is good. I mean, in my opinion, it's definitely worth the money. Ever since I started playing, I've been a huge fan of Gibson Les Pauls. This one is give or take as high as you can possibly go in that range, and I'm very happy to finally be able to have reached that. All joking aside, I'm pretty happy about it. I think that this guitar is going to give me some great experiences playing, and for that, I think it will be worth every penny. I know this hasn't been a very technical video. I mean, the specs of this guitar are out there. You know, people basically know what a Les Paul Custom is, but I just wanted to share with everybody that on one hand, I did reach my goal for the year, and I'm happy about that. Hopefully this will inspire some of you guys to work towards the gear that you want. I can tell for sure right now that this guitar, finally having one of these and actually owning it, this is going to give me absolutely zero excuses not to practice. I mean, if I don't practice as much as I possibly can with this guitar, then I'm a complete, would be utterly lazy. And sometimes that sort of thing is good as far as the inspiration goes. And I've always wanted one. I know that everybody's opinion on guitars is vastly different and people can get heated on it, but just respect to everybody else's opinion. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best you can do for a guitar. And also, with that being said, if you guys have a dream guitar that either you own or you aspire to own, tell me about it in the comments, please. You know, tell me what you like about it, if you own it already, tell me what you like about it. If you don't, tell me what you aspire it to be, because this guitar, to be totally honest, has actually met my expectations, which is about the highest it could achieve. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this on the channel pretty soon, and including a proper audio demo with a proper amp, not just the Katana. I do like the Katana, it sounds great, but just the Katana and the camera mic is not a great demo. And if you like this video, don't forget to share it and subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys next time.